Now, one person who's done considerable charity work in northeast Nigeria is Fiona Lovatt. She manages and supports 4 orphanages there, looking after some of the hardest hit victims of the Boko Haram insurgency in the face of the terrible dangers of the conflict. Fiona joins me now in the studio. Delighted to have you here. I love the clothes you're wearing there. Briefly tell us how you, a New Zealander, came to be and work in northeast Nigeria.
Well, you've already shown the nature of my country earlier on the Newshour. We're a nation of earthquakes and shattering natural disasters, and it's quite nice to go to a place
so
where
this
there's
was not a big deal for you at all?
Only human disasters.
But let's just talk about those figures that we heard a minute ago. Alarming figures about hunger and malnutrition in northeast Nigeria. The government often refutes those claims by suggesting the charities are exaggerating, using these figures as a ploy to try to raise funds. Which should we believe?
I think you have to go with the track records of Médecins Sans Frontières and Save the Children Fund. I do feel sometimes that there's an exaggeration, but the reality is when I went on the diet that the people have, within 3 months I'd lost 20 kilos, and I'm a person with a robust immune system and good health, and we're talking about women and children who are seriously suffering. There are skeletal people across Borno. There are 3 years now without any planting. No food crops are planted in a land where you can get 2 crops. People are reduced to rice and oil in a land that was the fruit bowl of the nation. And this deprivation that people are experiencing and being herded as they are into the IDP camps is a horrendous situation. It's been my great blessing to be able to relieve the situation for people who never got into there in the first place.
We're looking at pictures of some of the children that you work with in northeastern Nigeria there. Just tell us a bit about the work that you actually do there.
I assist people from the West and people of comfort to be able to give their quota. If that happens to be £10 or 1,000 naira, I take it through to these women, these children, these orphans, and you can see in the footage here that this was a derelict hospital. The owner has been unable to operate it as a hospital for about 5 years, and he said we could have it. It had 18 ensuite rooms and wards below, so we brought in 17 widows and their children, and they live as a cooperative there now with the help of Purple Hearts, with the help of Like Minds. Some really grassroots charities have assisted to set these women up with grinding machines, sewing machines, soap making facilities, and we educate the children. And we can see here, this is I had come back from being away touring around the other houses, and this was the warmth of the greeting. I mean,
yeah, well, I can just see that you seem very comfortable there, but you are, of course, a Western woman working in an African Muslim-dominated conflict zone. I mean, have you run up against cultural issues that challenge your Western background there?
Well, you're dealing with a New Zealander, and I think I spoke to you earlier about the idea of when I went on my summer holidays with my family, we roughed it. So I feel I'm sort of on an eternal camping holiday.
There is, of course, this prevailing stereotype that Africans don't like to give, but prefer to be given. Is that what you've found when you've tried to raise funds from? Because I noticed that a lot of your charity stuff comes from New Zealand,
yes,
not from Nigeria.
I don't actively go raising funds. I do what I can with what I have, and we stretch it a long, long way. Like you can see, that hospital is free. I'm paying the teachers. The mothers are now in work themselves. They're feeding their own family. So I'm trying to find the leverage that I can in a kind of, it's the same Kiwi thing, can-do attitude. And Nigerians have come on board in the last year since I began intensively working with IDPs. I mean, I've been there 5 years and I've done a lot of other projects, and that money has come from former colleagues and past students of mine. 30 years in teaching, you have 1,000 students.
So in light of the work you do there and all these figures that we're hearing, what should the world be doing now about northeastern Nigeria?
I worry when we think that the world needs to fix it. There's actually the capacity within Nigeria itself to fix it. And whether we're going to own up now to the fact that there is a crisis and that this is not just lies cooked up to make a president look bad. We need to clear the land of the mines. How can it be that we can't find 15 tanks driving across the countryside when it's savannah? You know, we can search the whole of the Indian Ocean for Malaysian Airlines, but we can't find these Chibok girls. And they're only a small sample of those who've been taken. There are so many needs in the world, but I think if you have a link to Nigeria, and if you have a link to the idea that children are precious, I look at the children in my care now and I think, which one of you will be the governor? I think, which one of you will be the president in 40 years' time to tell this story, that you were written off as hungry, you know, little bellies. What did you have to offer this country? And they are brilliant. They are wonderful children. We see progress in their education. Put something into education. Put a book in a hand, put a pencil in a hand, put a teacher. We don't even have classrooms. We teach on mats and on writing boards.
What they're learning.
But they are learning.
Okay. On that suitably bucolic note, Fiona Lovatt, who's done a remarkable job supporting 4 orphanages in northeast Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
indeed.
much, Charles.